Meanwhile, a group of Purdue researchers may have found a treatment for traumatic brain injuries, but the pandemic has delayed the research.
News 8's Richard Essex brought you this story a year ago and joins us tonight with an update.
The state of Indiana has put up $1 million towards hyperbaric oxygen therapy research. The state is the first one to put up that kind of public funds for what is considered to be experimental or off-label research for traumatic brain injuries. Now, the program was just getting started when the pandemic hit. This is a brain scan from the first Indiana veteran enrolled in the program. The Weldon School of Biomedical Engineering on Purdue's campus is conducting the research.
The coronavirus hit, of course, and everything broke loose.
The pandemic shutdown slowed the research to a crawl, and eventually most of the volunteers dropped out of the program. In order for the research to be completed, they need 39 more veterans to sign up. Hyperbaric oxygen therapy, or what is commonly called HBOT, has not been fully approved for traumatic brain injuries by the Veterans Administration. Art Trulip, a former Air Force captain, is administering the research program.
And I would almost venture to say more holistic ways that do work. That don't require, 4 different prescriptions to do this thing. And as a scientist, I remain objective in my assessment of it, but there's a lot of evidence that this can do good.
In October of last year, I introduced you to Chuck Lee. This picture was taken when he was with the 82nd Airborne at Fort Bragg in North Carolina. During his tenure in the Army, he suffered a number of injuries and was prescribed almost every pain medication you can think of. Eventually, the pain meds stopped working, and he then found hyperbaric oxygen therapy.
It started changing the effects of what was happening to my body from over there.
Lee went from being in a wheelchair to what you see today. He credits hyperbaric therapy for his recovery. President Trump has signed into law a bill that directs the Veterans Administration to provide HBOT therapy to veterans suffering from traumatic brain injuries. Turley believes the Purdue HBOT research is the most comprehensive study underway, but he needs volunteers to finish the project.
But in terms of what we're trying to do and where we're coming from, we're right where we were about a year ago. We've got our approval now for using our labs with COVID safety precautions in place for the MRI facility. Our HBOT facility down in Clark is good to go.
The funding from the state has some restrictions. Purdue will need an extension from the Indiana General Assembly to ensure the funding stays intact. Researchers have access to one hyperbaric oxygen therapy chamber in southern Indiana. They need approval from the Indiana State Department of Health to access more throughout the state. Now, the research could take up to 1 year to complete. In Indianapolis, Richard Essex, Wish TV, wishtv.com, and follow us on Facebook.